Sackboy: A Big Adventure is one of the best couch co-op games available on PlayStation. It supports up to 4 players and has you playing through some fantastic 3D environments that look absolutely gorgeous. It adapts to the amount of players that you have so that everybody has something to do and be involved in. There's fun enemies to fight. There are a bunch of fantastic gameplay elements introduced throughout the game and some awesome music levels to bop your way through. Believe it or not, PlayStation has a ton of great couch co-op games, and today I'm talking about 51 of them that you can enjoy and play with your family, friends, or your significant other. Let's keep going. It Takes Two is perhaps the best couch co-op game available on the market right now. We love this one. It features a couple on the verge of divorce and their adventure as little toys to come back together and go through this 3D platforming world with a bunch of different game genres mixed in. You'll have top-down elements, you'll have Street Fighter elements. It is a fantastic adventure that forces you to work together. So definitely go check it out if you have not yet. Ship of Fools is a roguelite. That means you have permadeath. Well, kind of. There are elements in the game that you get to permanently upgrade to help you eventually make your way through the game. In this game, you have to hop on a ship to go brave the Aqua Apocalypse. You have to load up your cannons with all sorts of different strange ammunitions and fight hordes upon hordes of monsters as you make your way through the sea. It has some really fun mechanics, from the shooting of the cannons to the whacking of things that invade your ship with your oar. And it's also a very cooperative roguelite, more so than some of the others we've played. Enter the Gungeon is a roguelike, meaning that it is harder than a roguelite. Kind of. There are no permanent upgrades in this one. You just have to play through and master everything as you go. It's a bullet hell, so there are bullets going every single which way. It is a ton of fun, and we've personally only made it to level 2, but we really enjoy all of the gun-themed and bullet-themed enemies and all of the various different blasters. It's such a fantastic time, even if you can't beat the game. The Escapist 2 is all about creating and executing the perfect escape plan from prison. There are puzzle elements as you try to solve the way to escape the prison, which there are multiple ways to do, and the RPG elements come in as you increase your different stats throughout your days in the prisons as you work to escape. Biped is absolutely adorable. It has you playing as these little robots, and you control their feet, so you take one step at a time, or you can use them together and glide along. This is an absolutely fantastic cooperative 3D puzzle platformer. There are little platforms that you'll have to step on that coordinate with your color. There are wood mills where you have to throw wood into chippers, and it is very cooperative. There's even little swinging puzzles where you have to swing each other across. Fantastic adventure. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is more on the story side than the gameplay side, but it's something that you'll remember. It takes you along the story of two brothers as they try to rescue their father, who's sick, and they need to go get some medicine that will help him, and they've got to go through the land of the giants, and they've got to fly a plane, and they've got to swim through rivers. It really is a compelling adventure, and the remake on PlayStation has some fantastic visuals that make it even more worth it. Trine is a 1 to 3 player puzzle 2D platformer that introduces some fantastic mechanics. So this one has you playing as a wizard, a knight, and a thief. They each have their own different abilities that can do different things and help you solve the puzzles in different ways. It can be quite complex at times, but it feels really rewarding when you actually solve those puzzles. And then there's also like combat and lots of different platforming challenges along the way as well. And this goes for Trine 1 through 5, though 5 is the one we'd recommend as it's the newest. Just reading the description of Knights and Bikes made me want to play it, but this is one that we've had recommended from some of you guys. The game takes you on a Goonies style inspired adventure on the British coast many years ago, and there's bikes for you to ride. There's a pickled knighthead, a goose. I don't know, it's wild. It seems to be very story driven, and I cannot wait to pick this one up personally, because it seems like one of those more cozy, relaxing hack and slash games that don't take a whole lot of skill and are just a fun adventure. Death Squared is another puzzle game. Yes, we love puzzle games. This one is kind of like those little sliding puzzles where you have to move the numbers around in order to get them in order, but with cubes, and when you make a mistake, you definitely die. You get a spike driven through you, or you get knocked off the edge and blown up, or you get a laser hitting you. It's really fun. The death is amusing and a little frustrating when it wasn't caused by you. It was caused by your companion stepping on a button that they didn't know what it was gonna do. The puzzles are so fun to solve as you try to slide yourself around and not step on buttons so that you don't accidentally blow up your partner. Definitely worth checking out. Struggling is one of the strangest games we have ever played. This has you playing as a character with 2 arms, and each of you gets to control one of the arms. You move your way through a very fleshy 2D platformer, each of you grabbing with your arm and trying to like spiral around. It's fun because of the toughness of actually controlling one character with 2 people controlling him, and also because it's just got the wackiest things in this game. How to Escape is an escape simulator where one of you is on a train and the other is actually using your phone to give them directions on what they need to do to escape. So you have the entire codex of this fruit is the right fruit to eat type of thing, and the other person's on the train grabbing the fruits, trying to solve the puzzles, listening to things, telling you what they're seeing, and then you on the phone got to figure out what they need to know in order to solve the puzzles. It is a fantastic puzzle adventure that was a little bit tough, so don't be afraid to use the clues. Nobody Saves the World is one of our all-time favorite games. This game has you going on an adventure as Nobody, who finds a wand that allows him to transform into a bunch of different characters, and as you go through the game, you unlock more and more characters, from a necromancer to a magician to a bodybuilder to a egg. It is so fun, and they each have their own unique fighting styles and abilities, and eventually you actually get to combine those. The story is fantastic and funny. There are really fun dungeons to go through. This is a really fun action RPG that lasts for around 18 hours. Don't Starve Together is the very first survival game on this list. This one has you stranded in the wilderness and you've got to figure out what to do. That means collecting flowers and collecting berries and harvesting wheat to go and plant somewhere else and create your own base, and being careful of the bison and learning to avoid the wolfhounds as they come after you after a couple of days, figuring out how to survive your first night. This one is quite the adventure. There is so much to do. There's fishing and exploring and base building. It is a really fun time, though I do recommend using Google to help you figure out what you need to do next. Warcraft and the Temple of Osiris focuses more on the puzzles than anything else. The puzzles in this game will actually adapt to the amount of players you have, making the puzzles slightly different in co-op. There is also some combat to enjoy as you dive through each dungeon and make your way to the end of the game. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga includes all of the Skywalker movies put together, and it is just so fun to play through in Lego form. You get a lightsaber, you get to blast things, you get to break things, you get to fix things. It's just a fun Lego game that is family friendly and a lot of fun, especially if you're a fan of Star Wars. Did you know that we have a Discord? You can actually join with one of the top links in the description down below and enjoy the fantastic co-op community that we are building. You can share your favorite games, you can ask for game recommendations, and just have a good time with a co-op community. Can't wait to see you there. Castle Crashers is an oldie but a goldie. I feel like I've said that a lot of times, but this beat 'em up is quite the adventure. You play as knights trying to rescue the kidnapped princesses. There are a ton of wacky different weapons to use. Each of the knights have their own type of magic that they get to build up. You get to increase each of their different abilities as you level up, and the boss fights and enemies that you fight in this are just so quirky and fun and enjoyable. It's a blast, though it was a little hard for us. Now, a quick disclaimer. We don't normally talk about rated M games, but the next 6 on the list are rated M. We personally haven't played them, but they get such fantastic praise, we thought we'd mention them for you. If you don't want to see the rated M games, go ahead and skip to number 24. Diablo 4 is an isometric action RPG that will have you customizing your stats, beating up enemies, taking down bosses, liberating towns, and completing quests. All of your classic action RPG Diablo-esque stuff. Again, I haven't played it, so I don't have a whole lot to say, but people love it. Baldur's Gate 3 is supposedly as close as you can get to Dungeons and Dragons in video game form. You create your own character, make your own choices, romance, fight, loot, and experience the story as determined by the roll of the dice. Haven is a game all about love. You play as two characters who have run away from one planet, found themselves on another, and you've got to live their life and experience what they're experiencing. It is in part a narrative adventure while also having you go out and explore the world around you, fight off enemies, and build yourself a cozy little home. A Way Out is the predecessor to It Takes Two. Like that game, it includes all of the fantastic forced cooperation with awesome puzzles to solve and a story about two prisoners working together to escape prison. It just involves a more mature story that we personally like to avoid. Outward is a game that we have heard praised numerous times. This is an open world RPG that has you playing as a random Joe Schmo exploring the world, taking on quests, and fighting enemies. There's not a lot of more advanced, intense games like this that actually offer split screen, so it's a good option if you're looking for something like that. The Ascent will take you into a cyberpunk world where you will need to master your twin stick shooter abilities. The game has RPG elements, so you'll have to allocate skill points as you level up and customize your character, and augmentations to help you take down the enemies. Now we're back to the non-rated M content. Chicory, A Colorful Tale, is a fantastic watercoloring adventure that will have you playing through the story of this little janitor who ends up getting the paintbrush to color the world, and you've got to figure out why all of the color has disappeared from the world while also coloring every area you come to. And as you paint things, they interact and create pathways and show you hidden items and stuff. It's a really unique game. Ooh, Spiritfarer, this one is good. It has to do with souls passing into the next life, and you are their caretaker. You're the one that helps them pass through and helps them complete their life goals before that actually happens. You play as this wonderful lady who has a cat, and you're on a boat, and you got to go find souls and bring them onto your boat, and you got to create rooms for them. And there's a lot of survival, Stardew Valley-esque aspects to it, where there's some farming, there's some exploring, there's gathering of materials and selling of things. It is a very heartfelt adventure that also has some really fun gameplay aspects along the way. Fury Unleashed is a twin stick shooter roguelite that has you playing as a comic book character moving your way through a comic strip. There are 40 different bosses to tackle as you move your way through the comic and strive to prove to the author that you actually can do it. Cat Quest 2 is a fantastic action RPG featuring cats and cat puns and dog puns and some fantastic little pieces of armor and gear to upgrade and explore. It's got a fairly simplistic story, but a wonderful overworld map to explore with puns all over the place. It's probably not the best action RPG, but it is really fun and really cute, and definitely an easy way to enter these type of games. Stardew Valley is a farming simulator, but it's so much more. There's community to make friends with, there's things to explore, there's fishing to do, there's caving to do, there's farming of crops, there's automation of farming of crops. This is a fantastic, cozy game to sit down and spend hours in. I think it is our most played co-op game together. And if you're looking for something cozy and easy and not high stress, this is the one to relax to. Heavenly Bodies is an intriguing physics-based game where you play as astronauts in their own space station, where you've got to perform tasks in and out of the space station, all in zero gravity. So you're using your arms and controlling your legs and bending your knees and grabbing onto things and moving your way through the zero gravity. That's where the majority of the fun in this one comes in, as well as solving the little puzzles that it presents you with. Minecraft, I really don't know if I need to talk about this one, but it is a very blocky survival game where you get to build anything you want. You get to fight monsters, you get to go through caves, you get to do fishing, though fishing isn't the most fun in Minecraft. This game is a game of endless possibilities and endless customization, so definitely check it out and see if you could enjoy it. Fortnite is a shooting game. This is a 100-player battle royale that offers split screen. So that is really cool. You get to work together in a duo team and actually go out there and explore and fight against other enemies and see what one another are doing so that you can know, hey, he needs help over there. Let me go shoot that guy for him so that he doesn't die and I am left alone. Guacamelee 2 is a game we have heard frequently praised. The game is inspired strongly by Mexican culture and provides a fantastic array of 2D Metroidvania features. You'll have to master timings as you jump from one platform to another, learn to fight a variety of different baddies, and even master a chicken form. Magicka 2 is a top-down Diablo-esque style game that involves some fantastic mixing of magical spell abilities, where you've got to figure out how to cast each spell with your controller. It is a ton of fun, and the entire game is in gobbledygook. We spent like an hour trying to figure out how to turn it to English when we first bought the game, just to find out that it's just gibberish. Little Big Planet 3 is another 2D platformer. This one is a ton of fun. It's in the Little Big Planet universe, or the Sackboy universe. It is all cartoony and cutesy and has an interesting story that I don't really remember, but I remember being interesting. Darksiders Genesis is an isometric hack and slash adventure that will have you crawling through dungeon after dungeon, looting chests, battling baddies, upgrading your characters, beating up bosses, working your way through some intriguing puzzles, and having an overall good time. Code is an adorably cute puzzle game. This has you playing as a rock and a star, and they each have their own abilities that really beautify the entire landscape of the game, and you get to move rocks, you get to grow plants, and use those to make your way through this 3D-ish world. It's got some intriguing puzzles, but also some puzzles that were a little infuriating to us and we had to look up online. Escape Academy is one of our favorite escape room games. This one has you learning how to escape at an escape academy, and then maybe some of the things become real and you need to learn to actually escape before you drown or something. It's quite the adventure, and unlike all of the in-person escape rooms, you actually know what kind of things you can interact with, and it's just got a ton of fun puzzles to play in split screen. Overcooked is one of the most popular couch co-op games out there. This one has you making up dishes in kitchens that are ever changing. One level is just a normal kitchen. The next level you're playing on two cars that are moving side by side. The next level you're skating around on ice and trying not to fall off into the water. The dishes that get introduced are really fun to learn how to make. You got French fries, you got burgers and salads and pizzas. I think it's been a long time since we played Overcooked, but it is a ton of fun, just a little infuriating sometimes. Merrick's Market is the first game we played that we said is better than Overcooked. Now, I think in this one, we didn't get super mad at each other either. We probably got a little mad here and there, but not as mad as like with an Overcooked game. In this one, you play as a medieval tavern owner, and you're making all sorts of different things to sell to your customers. You've got to make swords and lights and gloves and all sorts of different things. And there's also like some interesting boss levels that are really fun to participate in. You start brewing potions. If you're looking for a shooter, Tiny Tina's Wonderland is a good option. This wild and wacky game is a tabletop fantasy adventure mixed with a first-person shooter. Now, I have heard that this is just a slightly worse version of the Borderlands games, but it is rated T while they are rated M, so that's why it's on here. There are a lot of monsters to fight. There is plenty of character customization and shooting and blowing things up and just having a blast. Tools Up is kind of like Overcooked, but you're not cooking, you are actually remodeling homes, and it also is not nearly as frustrating. So this one, you'll be ripping out floors, you'll be tearing down walls, you'll be painting walls and putting in new carpet and all sorts of stuff like that. It is a really cute, adorable, somewhat cozy adventure that we had a lot of fun with. Listen, if you have been enjoying this video, if it has been helpful to you, then please consider supporting the channel by going to the co-op style GameStop.com/support and becoming a member of the Co-op crew. We've got some fantastic benefits for you, from some free games for the next few people to join, to exclusive behind the scenes content, discount codes, and more. I really can't wait to see you guys over there. We work so hard on this channel, and we've worked so hard to also give you some fantastic benefits if you choose to support the channel. Curse of the Sea Rats. I don't think I'm allowed to introduce this game without saying it like that, so I'm sorry if I'm offending somebody. I really feel bad if I'm offending somebody. Anyway, this is a fantastic Metroidvania that has you playing as rats who are supposed to be humans, but there's this evil witch, Flora Byrne. You're going after her, trying to rescue this little boy. I think his name might be Timmy, but I may have just made that up. There is a ton of things to explore. It is a Metroidvania, so you got to go and get new skills so you can come back and unlock areas that you passed previously. We had a ton of fun with this one. Definitely check it out. Unravel 2 is a beautiful 2D puzzle platformer that we had so much fun with. This one has you playing as these little yarn characters that are connected together by a string of yarn, and you've got to make your way through the environment connected, and you get to shoot little strings up to grab little anchors and swing yourself across. Kind of makes you feel like Spider-Man. You got to pull each other up and drop each other down by your yarn. There is a ton of fantastic puzzles that make you work together. The environment is beautiful, and it's just such a zen type of game. There's really no other word that I've ever been able to think of to describe this one. Blade Up is pretty new to PlayStation, and this is kind of like Overcooked, but if you took it and mixed it with a roguelike. So this one has you playing all of the Overcooked stuff. You make dishes, you serve them to your customers, but you actually have to do it day after day. And as you move along, you get to continue upgrading your kitchen. You get to get new plates and new countertops and new cooktops and new tables for your restaurant. You're trying to make as much money as you can and continue to go and grow your audience day after day. And if you die, then you start all over and do it again. Helldivers is a top-down twin stick shooter that will have you defending Super Earth by invading and defeating aliens on other planets. You'll find yourself blasting all sorts of beasts as you move from planet to planet, and you can even call in air support to get special supplies to help you in the fight. Not to mention you'll have to be careful where you point your gun, as friendly fire is definitely on. Trinity Trigger is a really fun cooperative JRPG. This one has you playing as a group of 3 characters who use these little animals that are their companions that also kind of turn into weapons. That sounds kind of like Pokemon, doesn't it? Anyway, these guys actually turn into like swords and spears and boxing gloves and stuff. It really reminds me of some old classic games, but it doesn't play that way. It plays like a new game. Conan Chop Chop is a roguelite game that has you playing with Conan the Barbarian characters. So you get to play with, swords and bows and stuff and make your way through and fight fantastic bosses. We honestly haven't made it that far into this one, but I really did enjoy what I played. It's got a really cutesy art style that touched my heart. I had fun with the amount that I played, and I would recommend checking it out. Manic Mechanics is like Overcooked, but you're repairing cars, and it's super cute, and we like it way more. It's one of our favorite Overcooked-like games. And you've got to figure out all of the different actions you need to do. To paint a door is something different than to place an engine in, and to pump up a tire is something different all again. It's a really fun adventure that introduces all sorts of different wild, wacky obstacles, and even some boss fight-like levels that are really fun to play through. Minecraft Dungeons is inspired by classic dungeon crawlers and has you fighting off enemies from the Minecraft universe, enchanting your weapons and personalizing your character's fighting styles to be exactly what you like. It's not as complex as Diablo, but it is a good way to get into that style of game. 39 Days to Mars is a somewhat short adventure that is, I think, hand-drawn. It's definitely like penciled in on paper is what it looks like. This one has you playing as these British characters that are so funny to listen to. They're constantly asking to have some like tea and crumpets or whatever. And you're basically on this rickety old spaceship trying to make your way to Mars in 39 days. And there's all sorts of different little puzzles and activities for you to perform along the way. I think the game can be beat in like 40 minutes, but it took us a little longer and is a really fun, funky time. Very, Very Valet has you playing as Muppet-esque characters who are running a valet service. You've got to take people's cars and go and park them and then return them to them as fast as possible when they ask for them back. And it introduces all sorts of fun, wacky obstacles and levels. You can play on train tracks and play on an airplane runway and use catapults to launch the cars across. It is a ton of fun. But you know what else is a ton of fun? This video right here, where we talk about 101 couch co-op games that are absolutely fantastic. Sure, there's a lot of the ones from this list, but there's also a lot that you have probably never heard of. So go ahead and check it out. I cannot wait to see you over there. We love you guys. Y'all are awesome.